I came out from the toilet when I felt something strange. It's as if someone broke into my house. As I walked through the hallway, nearly passing by the living room, I was surprised seeing my wall vandalized with mini theory, too weak, J.
What does it mean by that? Well, I don't know.
So, who do you think have done it? Tell us.
I don't know. Perhaps it's well, I'm writing my theory. It's about a general observation that feelings or empathy and personal relation between the learners and the teachers support motivation for learning and tend to improve the results of learning. This is what I regard central to distance education. My theory implies that the character of a good distance education resembles that of a guided conversation aiming at learning, and the presence of the typical traits of such conversation facilitates learning. It can be achieved through drafting a course outline in a conversational manner, using the first person to emphasize the connection between the readers, who are the learners, and the authors, who are the teachers. Through that, students can think aloud and elaborate texts, which can result to internalized conversation. More!
More? What?
More's about, please.
Are you kidding me?
Well, my theory is about feelings of personal relation between the teaching and learning parties. And he hates it. It is Michael G. Moore.
Me? How could it be me? I don't hate his work. I just called it bitty or microtheory. No, I could never be the one. My theory is about transactional distance, which is the gap between the understanding of a teacher or a teaching team and that of a learner. And it focuses on three elements: structure, which is the course; dialogue, which is the conversation; and autonomy, which embodies the learner's independence. And then, as the structure increases, the transactional distance increases too. Now, as the dialogue decreases, the transactional distance increases. And there's another. What level of interaction is essential for effective learning? What is good interaction? And how can we achieve it? What does real-time interaction contribute? Is it worth the cost? For my contribution, I suggested that as a minimum, distance educators need to agree on the distinctions between the three types of interaction, which I labeled as learner-content interaction, learner-instructor interaction, and learner-learner interaction. To distinguish among these three types will have benefits conceptually, but will also do much to overcome the misunderstanding between educators who use different media. Yes, I did that too.
Did what?
I cannot be the culprit because in my discussion about the types of interaction, I acknowledged him in the learner-content interaction, and I said, it is this type of interaction that I believe is at least partly involved in what Holmberg calls the internal deductive conversation, when learners talk to themselves about the information and ideas they encounter in a text, television, program, lecture, or elsewhere. Ask Peter, he said something about it.
What? Yes, I call his theory weak. It is nothing compared to mine.
I consider distance education as the most industrialized form of education. An in-depth analysis and interpretation of the process of distance education reveals structural elements that are practically and theoretically the same as their equivalents in the industrial production. If the theory is analyzed thoroughly, 7 dimensions can be identified: historical, organizational, sociological, cultural, anthropological, economical, and pedagogical. The theory of the most industrialized form of education is a broad one. It is true that at first sight it seems to cover the organizational side of the teaching-learning process in distance education only, and seems to be rather narrow. However, at second sight, we realize that it is a complex and multifaceted theory that indicates how the process of industrialization has also changed the pedagogical structure of the teaching and learning in a decisive way.
Peters? Oro Peters! Hilaw pa man ang rice!
Kajot, it can never be me. I'm too busy doing this and that. Why don't you ask Wedemeyer?
Why am I part of this? I just simply emphasized a student-centered learning, that independent learning skills are needed so that students can pursue lifelong learning at any point in their lives when they want it or they're needed. Independent study for me is various forms of teaching and learning arrangements in which teachers and learners carry out their essential tasks and responsibilities apart from one another, communicating in a variety of ways for the purposes of freeing internal learners from inappropriate class pacings or patterns, or providing external learners opportunity to continue learning in their own environments, and developing in all learners the capacity to carry on self-directed learning, the ultimate maturity required of the educated person. Independent study programs offer learners varying degrees of freedom in the self-determination of goals and activities, and in starting, stopping, and pacing individualized learning programs, which are carried on to the greatest extent possible at the convenience of the learners. That is why this is mostly observed in university levels. I don't have anything to do with your issue.
costumes nila, yung American, pati yung pagpunta ko sa CR.
Ay!
Grabe. Ano susuotin ko? Ano sa CR?
May nagasigid sa taas. My theory implies that, or resembles that, or implies that, or resembles that.
To distinguish among these three types will have benefits. Be the one. Because in my theory,
Peters, Otto Peters, hilaw pa ang rice.
You can never be me. I'm too busy doing this and that. Go ask Wedemeyer.